It is estimated that some people will be shocked when they see the title, or they will cancel it directly after being stimulated. But this sentence was not said by Han Tang, but by Turkish Interior Minister Soylu on social media. On May 28, 2023, the second round of voting in the Turkish presidential election will end. That night, in the early morning of May 29th, the results of the general election were announced, and the current President Erdogan won the election. Erdogan will serve a third term as president for a 5-year term. Subsequently, Turkish Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu issued a strongly worded statement on social media Twitter. "I want to emphasize that from now on, anyone who pursues a policy facing the United States, whether it is a political party or an individual, will be declared a traitor to the motherland of this country." Turkey has reached a point where all aspects of these elections are known clearly, what the United States wants to do in Turkey. Süleyman Soylu's remarks were directed at Turkish opposition leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu was very high profile during the campaign, directly declaring that if he wins the election, he will turn Turkey's foreign policy 180 degrees, and Turkey will turn to the Western camp. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu has promised to bring true democracy to Turkey and see changes not only in Turkey but around the world. He wants to restart negotiations on Turkey's accession to the European Union. After expressing his closeness to the United States and Europe, he was also polite to Russia, expressing his hope to maintain good relations with Russia. However, is it possible? In this kind of country with 2 or more parties running for election, the most troubling problem is the instability of national policy. In order to win the votes of different groups, different presidential candidates will consciously cater to a certain faction and a certain group, shouting the slogans they want to hear. As for how much he can cash in after taking office, it is not certain, and no one will be held accountable anyway. However, it is very rare in a presidential campaign to make such a clear-cut declaration of changing the diplomatic direction of a country like Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. From the point of view of Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, it can be seen that this person has completely forgotten the glory of the Ottoman Turkish Empire, and even bowed his head to the Western world as a slave. This Kemal has the same name as Turkey's father of the nation Kemal, but he has no blood relationship. Maybe it's a coincidence, or maybe he wants to take advantage of the aura of his predecessors. The point is, if Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu is really in power in Turkey, and it fully turns to the United States and Europe, and implements the so-called real democracy, the world will be in chaos, and even lose the last bit of foundation left by Ottoman Turkey. Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu advertised himself as a Kemalist stance, advocated the separation of church and state, and advocated true democracy. In fact, he completely abandoned Turkey's Islamic tradition and moved toward secularization. On the surface, the secularization policy may cater to the needs of some Turks. However, Turkey is located at the junction of Asia, Europe, and Africa, and controls the Eurasian Continental Bridge, which is a necessary place for cultural exchange between the East and the West. If the Islamic tradition is completely discarded, how can Turkey establish itself in the face of the expansion of civilization in the Western Christian world? Islamic religion stipulates that women must wear headscarves when going out. In 1925, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the first president of modern Turkey, enacted a nationwide hijab ban, prohibiting women from wearing it in schools and state institutions. This is an important symbol of Turkey's secularization. Kemal's dominant idea is to fully secularize, accept Western values, and abolish past traditions. In 2013, current President Erdogan formally repealed the hijab ban imposed by Kemal. Erdogan has always regarded himself as the caliph of the Islamic world. During his administration, Turkey became more and more Islamized. The United States and Europe have infiltrated Turkey's political system since 1960, but Erdogan is gradually eliminating Western political infiltration. In July 2020, the Hagia Sophia Museum was converted into a mosque, which caused condemnation from many countries. Why did Western countries condemn the conversion of a museum into a mosque? It is because the Hagia Sophia Museum was originally an Orthodox cathedral. The current location of the Hagia Sophia once housed 2 churches destroyed by the riots. In 532 AD, the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I ordered the construction of a 3rd church on the original site. Built in 537 AD, it was the Orthodox Cathedral of Constantinople in the Eastern Roman Empire until 1453. After the Ottoman Empire captured Constantinople, the cathedral was converted into a mosque on May 29, 1453. It was secularized in 1934 and turned into a museum. In 2020, it was reconverted into a mosque by Erdogan. Christianity today has always preached peace and forgiveness. But in fact, whether it is the Christian countries in the United States and Europe we see today, or the Holy See in history, there has been no chance of peace. After the rise of the Arab Empire, from 1096 to 1291 AD, the Holy See organized 9 crusades. During that period, the Arab Empire was divided internally, and the Crusaders won many wars. In a matter of decades, a few hundred Crusader knights could sweep across Syria. The Arabs were often forced to use scorched earth tactics against the Crusaders. For the Crusaders, retaking Jerusalem was a war against infidels, but they committed countless crimes in the name of religion. During the First Crusade, some people began to encourage the Crusaders to massacre the Jews. The Jews living in Germany and France are more threatening than the Arabs and Turks in the East. If you can tolerate these people living in our country, so what's the point of you traveling thousands of miles to fight those Easterners? In 1095 AD, the Crusaders broke into the Jewish community in the Rhineland, killing all the Jews and looting them. In 1096 AD, the Crusaders arrived in Hungary in batches, robbed and massacred the Hungarians, and were expelled by force. After arriving in Bulgaria, they were expelled again. After arriving in Constantinople, the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, they looted shops. The emperor of the Eastern Roman Empire, Alexis I, hurriedly sent the Crusaders to fight in Arabia, and these thugs were wiped out. In 1198, Pope Innocent III called for the Fourth Crusade. In 1202, the Crusaders, the Venetians and the Hungarians formed an allied force, marching and looting from Andros Island, and marched towards Constantinople in the Eastern Roman Empire. At the end of June 1203, the Crusaders encountered the fleet of the Eastern Roman Empire and defeated it. In the spring of 1204, the Crusaders captured Constantinople, the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, the seat of the Orthodox Holy See, which is also a Christianity, and robbed and killed the entire city. The robbery lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. The Crusaders burned the Hagia Sophia and even threw the bronze statue of the Virgin into the furnace to make coins. The looting and destruction followed by massacres, and Christians died tragically, bleeding all over the ground and soaking the calves of their horses. In order to rob money, the Crusaders even cut open the belly of the dead to collect the gold swallowed by the dead. In order to humiliate the Orthodox Church, the Crusaders made prostitutes sit on the Pope's throne and sing. In the end, the barbaric Crusaders set fire to the entire city to cover up their crimes. This is what we call brothers and sisters in Christianity. Facing the temptation of wealth, these believers turned into devils one after another, committing all kinds of evil. This blood feud made the subjects of the Eastern Roman Empire unforgettable, and they swore, "I would rather see the turban of the Sultan than the triple tiara of the Pope." After the ravages of the Crusaders, the Eastern Roman Empire completely declined. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks captured Constantinople and the Eastern Roman Empire came to an end. Because of this crime committed by the Catholic Crusaders, the Orthodox Church has still not been able to forgive the Catholic Church. The Ottoman Empire destroyed the Eastern Roman Empire and made today's Russia, because the Orthodox Holy See was transferred to the Principality of Kiev. The Russian Emperor called himself the Tsar, which was canonized by the Orthodox Holy See in the name of Caesar, and the so-called Shah was a transliteration. Since then, the Ottoman Empire has expanded wildly, becoming an empire spanning 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and Africa. After the Industrial Revolution in the West, the British and French colonists rose up and began to infiltrate the Arab world, inciting Arab rebellions and continuing to weaken the strength of the Ottoman Empire. The biggest black hand behind the disintegration of the Ottoman Empire was the United Kingdom. At that time, the United Kingdom fooled the Arabs into rebelling against the Ottoman Empire and promised to support the Arabs in rebuilding a powerful Arab country. After the outbreak of World War I, the Ottoman Empire allied itself with Germany and Austria-Hungary against Britain, France, Russia, Italy, and the United States. After the defeat of the Allied powers, Britain broke its promise to the Arabs, and the Ottoman Empire was manipulated by Britain and France and disintegrated into more than 40 countries. Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, Greece, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Yemen, Turkey, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. These were the territories of the Ottoman Empire at that time, and all became independent after World War I. The British and French butcher knives are extremely vicious. The disintegration of the Ottoman Empire is the source of wars and endless disasters in the Middle East today. After World War I, Britain and France wanted to carve up the core areas of Turkey, but Kemal issued the slogan "Give me independence or give me death," and united patriotic forces to fight against Britain and France. In 1920, Kemal convened the National Assembly and issued the Declaration of Independence, which is the founding day of modern Turkey. Subsequently, the Allies such as Britain and France sent troops to intervene in Turkey. Kemal asked for help from Soviet Russia, which was in a state of civil war. Lenin immediately gave Kemal some support. The most important support was the diplomatic recognition of Turkey. From 1920 to 1923, Kemal led the army to defeat the Allied forces in 3 years. The West was forced to recognize Turkey's statehood. During this period of history, Turkey's experience is similar to that of Soviet Russia. In 1917, after the Red Revolution broke out in Tsarist Russia, the Allied powers intervened, and the states under Tsarist Russia became independent one after another, including Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine. Today's Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, apart from chanting the secular slogan of the father of the nation, Kemal Kemal, has a completely different attitude towards the US, Europe and the Western world. Since the rise of the Western world, many major countries in the world have endured the poison of colonialism and bloody wars to achieve their independent status today. May I ask, can the true democracy that Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu brought to the Turks be? What's even more absurd is that the presidential election in the United States is in full swing, occupying Capitol Hill, and still admiring the real democracy of the West. This public intellectual of Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu is also a joke. Turkish Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu has repeatedly criticized the United States for interfering in Turkish elections before and after the Turkish election. On May 3, Soylu said, "The United States often interferes in Turkey's elections, using various methods, including the use of so-called tape conspiracy, that is, fake video. They are really shameless." Biden claimed that if they overthrow the President Erdogan fails, then it will do so by interfering in the electoral process. The Hungarian foreign minister reminded Soylu, the United States is not only trying to influence the election in Turkey, but also investing huge sums of money in Hungary, trying to oust the Hungarian government that does not fully obey the will of the United States. For the United States, Erdogan's maintenance of Turkey's national independence is the biggest mistake. In 2016, the Obama administration of the United States planned a military coup in Turkey in an attempt to overthrow Erdogan. According to the situation at the time, the rioting army was preparing to kill Erdogan on the spot. Fortunately, the Russian intelligence agency intercepted the coup information, and Putin, regardless of previous suspicions, disclosed the information to Erdogan and saved his life. At that time, a Turkish missile shot down a Russian warplane operating in Syria on the grounds that it had entered its airspace, but the provocation was obvious. Relations between the two countries are tense. There is indeed great wisdom in Putin's move. Since then, Erdogan has turned diplomatically and has always hated the United States. In this election, the US Biden administration still regards Erdogan as a thorn in its side. Erdogan's victory in the election means that the despicable plot of the United States against NATO allies has completely failed. It is by no means a friendly Turkey waiting for the United States. On May 29, Erdogan's spokesman, Süleyman Soylu, issued a victory declaration to supporters. "If we don't wipe out everyone who plagues this country, including the US military, within the next 5 years, call us cowards. This is the first time we've had that opportunity. The first time we've left the West vulnerable, the first time we've captured America, for the first time in 100 years. China, as the #1 competitor in the national strategy of the United States, is of course happy to see Turkey maintain its independence and stick to its anti-American stance. From China all the way to the West, Central Asia, Iran, Turkey, Russia, Belarus, the anti-American camp, the scenery should not be too beautiful. Support Turkey, support Erdogan." The latest evidence. The list of a new batch of staff members of the 731st Unit of the Japanese invaders was released for the first time. On June 1st, Japanese scholar Makoto Matsuno, Right, donated photocopied materials to the National Peace Archive of Heilongjiang University of Foreign Languages. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Zhang Tao. On the 2nd, Heilongjiang University of Foreign Languages and the 731st Unit of the Japanese Invasion Army, referred to as Unit 731, Crime Evidence Exhibition Hall jointly released a batch of information on the establishment of Unit 731 to the public in Harbin. These materials record in detail the staff list of Unit 731 reorganized from the Kwantung Army's Epidemic Prevention Department to the Kwantung Army's Epidemic Prevention and Water Supply Department, filling in the gaps in the scale and volume of Unit 731 at the beginning of its establishment, and further revealing that Unit 731 has grown from scratch, from small to large, the process of changing the number of people from generation to development, and promote the improvement of the evidence chain related to Unit 731. It is understood that these materials were recently discovered by Makoto Matsuno, a distinguished professor at Heilongjiang University of Foreign Languages and a researcher at the Institute of International Peace at Michigakuin University, in the collections of the National Archives of Japan. Makoto Matsuno also introduced that these materials include the personnel list of officers and senior civilian officials of the Kwantung Army's Epidemic Prevention and Water Supply Department, the personnel list of civil servants who have been sentenced to the same treatment as civilian officials of the Kwantung Army's Epidemic Prevention and Water Supply Department, the Kwantung Army's Military and Horse Epidemic Prevention Plant. The roster of civil servants and those who are treated are all produced in August 1940. This is a new material that Japanese scholar Makoto Matsuno also discovered at the National Archives of Japan, taken on June 1st. Photo by Xinhua News Agency reporter Zhang Tao. Unit 731 was a secret unit used by the Japanese invaders during World War II to study disease prevention and drinking water purification, but in fact used Chinese, Koreans, Soviets, etc. to conduct live experiments and develop and produce bacterial weapons. Makoto Matsuno also said that these newly discovered files mainly recorded the staff list of Unit 731, especially after Unit 731 changed from the Kwantung Army Epidemic Prevention Department to the Kwantung Army Epidemic Prevention and Water Supply Department on August 22, 1940, that is, the Kwantung Army the staff list of the Ministry of Epidemic Prevention and Water Supply when it was first established. The information discovered this time shows that the personnel list of Unit 731 is classified as a military secret, and the composition of the unit and the deployment of personnel are important confidential matters, said Jin Jinmin, curator of the Crime Evidence Exhibition Hall of the 731st Unit of the Japanese Invasion Army. It can be seen that Unit 731 is composed of the General Affairs Department, the 1st to 4th Departments, the Materials Department, the Medical Department, and the Education Department. This is a new material that Japanese scholar Makoto Matsuno also discovered at the National Archives of Japan, taken on June 1st. This force is composed of military doctors, pharmacy, health officers, engineers, technicians, mercenaries, etc. Judging from the staff list of military officers and senior civil servants, medical engineers occupy a high position in the army, including Ishii Sano, the brother of Shiro Ishii, the first commander of Unit 731, and the head of the animal class. This is an extremely important archive for the study of chemical warfare and bacterial warfare launched by Japan during World War II, and it is also ironclad evidence of the crimes committed by the Japanese Kwantung Army during its invasion of China. Jin Jinmin said that this is closely related to the bacterial attack that occurred in 1940. According to data, in Kuzhu, Ningbo, Jinhu and other places in Zhejiang, the Japanese army used plague-infected fleas to carry out bacterial warfare. On June 2, after an on-site inspection by the expert group of the Chinese Academy of Engineering, it was confirmed that the world's first offshore wind power non-desalinated seawater in situ direct electrolysis hydrogen production technology jointly carried out by the team of academician Xie Heping of Shenzhen University/Sichuan University and China Dongfang Electric Group Co., Ltd. The pilot test was successful in Fujian Xinghua Bay offshore wind farm. The world's first floating offshore hydrogen production platform Dongfu No. 1 combined with renewable energy. Photo courtesy of Dongfang Electric Group. It is reported that this test has received strong support from the Chinese Academy of Engineering, Fujian Province, Fuzhou City, Fucking City, China Three Gorges Corporation, and Fujian Energy Investment Group. The Chinese Academy of Engineering organized a group of academicians and experts to visit the site and witness the sea test. The expert group believes that the in-situ direct electrolysis hydrogen production equipment without desalination of seawater has a reasonable design and stable operation. The test has verified the feasibility of this technology and can be used as an important development path for hydrogen production from offshore renewable energy in the future. According to reports, the offshore pilot test was carried out at the Xinghua Bay offshore wind farm in Fujian province in mid to late May. The floating offshore hydrogen production platform Dongfeng 01. The platform integrates in-situ hydrogen production, smart energy conversion management, safety detection and control, loading and unloading and lifting systems. After withstood the test of marine environments such as 8-level winds, 1-meter high waves, and heavy rains, it has continuously and stably operated for more than 240 hours. Verified the feasibility and practicability of the principle and technology of in-situ direct electrolysis hydrogen production without desalination of seawater, which was originally created by Chinese scientists, in a real marine environment. The world's first floating offshore hydrogen production platform Dongfeng 1 combined with renewable energy. Photo courtesy of Dongfeng Electric Group. It is understood that the technical achievement of in-situ direct electrolysis hydrogen production without desalination of seawater was published in the main issue of Nature on November 30, 2022 by the team of academician Xie Heping, and was named one of the top 10 advances in Chinese science in 2022. On December 16, 2022, Dongfeng Electric Group signed an agreement with Shenzhen University/Sichuan University academician Xie Heping's team to officially launch the joint innovation of this technology, and Dongfeng Electric Group will be responsible for the transformation and industrialization of the results. The success of the sea trial marks that Dongfeng Electric Group adheres to the goal of high-level technological self-reliance and self-improvement, strives to build an integrated open innovation system, strives to create a source of original technology, and has achieved important results and positive progress. Take it into your own hands. The Security Committee held its first meeting and made the latest conclusion on the current national security situation. There are two sentences. The complexity and difficulty of the national security issues we are currently facing have increased significantly. We must adhere to bottom-line thinking and limit thinking, and be prepared to withstand the major test of high winds and even turbulent waves. Messages asking for their opinions on stormy waves and extreme thinking. National security really needs to be paid special attention to, but if one or two words are used too much, it is easy to understand. In the past few years, many people have dismissed policies in the past, and felt that the market and financing are more important. After being educated in reality, they finally came to their senses, but they went to another extreme, too eager for quick success, and moved the capital market quantification to policy in terms of analysis, plus some sayings that come out of the system. We must grasp the keywords that appear for the first time, so it is very common to count the word frequency of a policy document or draft, and then pick out the keywords that are particularly refreshing. Serve a lot. But the problem is that the first time I thought it was not the first time, it's just that I saw less and accumulated less. Keywords are of course important, and the language within the system does pay attention to details, but if it is too detailed and viewed in isolation, it becomes a dogma. Understanding policies requires long-term accumulation. A policy, a statement, and a speech must be considered in at least the vertical and horizontal axis. As for the time axis, it is necessary to summarize the context of policy evolution in the same field in different periods. Think about when it appeared, the transition node, the similarities and differences in different periods, and figure out the trend. The horizontal axis is the environmental axis. It is necessary to place a single object in the current comprehensive environment, to expand centered on the targeted core areas, and to collect and compare opinions from different departments, different people, and different fields, so as to clarify the problems and issues to be targeted. Target. If the research and analysis of policies is just a static word frequency statistics on a ready-made document, and then simply click a few words and draw a few key points, then so many industries and companies spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on policy research. If you don't have enough people, why spend a lot of money to invite people to accept telephone interviews or give lectures? The stormy waves and extreme thinking this time are typical examples. It is the first time that extreme thinking has been used in the field of national security at the national level. I have indeed worked hard, but I have to dig deeper according to the aforementioned vertical and horizontal axes and compare them horizontally. Difficult, but you can sort out the vertical first. There is a public tool that can be used well, the People's Daily Graphic Database, which summarizes all People's Daily reports from 1946 to the present. This database is used in the graduation thesis of the small town. Use this database to find clues, and then expand the search and positioning. Make a demo today. Taking extreme thinking as an example, the search found that the earliest and concentrated appearance was in May last year, which was related to the prevention and control of the epidemic. If there is accumulation, it will be associated with the national teleconference held on May 9th last year. Extracting keywords according to the clues in the text can also be obtained in Baidu search. Why the emphasis on People's Daily? Because many people may have used words like extreme thinking, but since we want to start thinking about policies from keywords, we must of course look at authoritative sources of information. Continuing the search, the first public mention of extreme thinking was a teleconference in May 2022. The official report stated that insist on dynamic clearing without hesitation and unwavering, adhere to bottom line thinking and extreme thinking, and catch the small ones early. Grasp the basics, discover and eliminate one case, ensure that the epidemic is manageable and controllable, and create a good environment for the successful holding of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. Last year's conference report guidance reader also appeared limit thinking in the middle part of the article, organically combining the implementation of the strategy of expanding domestic demand and deepening the supply side structural reform. Strengthen bottom line thinking and limit thinking, play first moves, take the initiative to fight well, and effectively prevent various risks and challenges. From the reports on various official websites and official speeches from various places, the fixed usage of sticking to the bottom line thinking and extreme thinking has also appeared intensively since last year. Now this word appeared at the first meeting of the new National Security Council. The common practice of policy language should not be overinterpreted. Storm waves is similar, and I won't go into details about the specific methods. Remember that the focus is on leaders and reports on important meetings. All kinds of second-hand, third-hand, and unofficial reports are all noise. After searching, I found that the word turbulent waves has been used a long time ago. For example, during the routine visits and condolences before the Spring Festival in 2021, there was such a sentence: the past year has been extremely extraordinary, with turbulent waves, hard work, and success. Winning, everyone feels it, everyone is amazing. Obviously, 2020 is already a stormy sea. Then in August 2022, the provincial and ministerial level main leading cadres seminar summarized the past 10 years, and believed that in the past 10 years, the risks and challenges encountered in the past 10 years were high and stormy, and sometimes even stormy. The report of last year's conference also mentioned we must increase our sense of urgency, adhere to the bottom line thinking, be prepared for danger in times of peace, plan ahead, and be prepared to withstand the major test of high winds and even stormy waves. The strongest confidence. These points were also emphasized at the Prime Minister's meeting after the 2 sessions this year. Although national waves and extreme thinking are pretty
survey writing
this time, it should not be overinterpreted.
MAG23有一个 survey writing 要写，
Let alone link these words with certain specific
你都不看的啊，
which misses the real point.
马上不
To the
做。
reader's inquiry, the town responded as follows. Of course, it is not the first time that national security system and capability modernization has been proposed. Last year's conference report clearly mentioned promoting the modernization of national security system and capability, and resolutely safeguarding national security and social stability. We need to sort it out further. On November 18, 2021, review of the National Security Strategy, 2021 to 2025, this is the second National Security Strategy report. On December 11, 2020, the highest level held the 26th collective study on doing a good job in national security work. At the last Congress, adhering to the overall national security concept was included in the basic strategy of upholding and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era, and it was written into the party constitution. This is a complete line of gradual and steady progress. The meeting on May 30th, the real focus is not on the words turbulent waves and extreme thinking, the key is the content behind. Here I recommend the official account of the town's elder brother the Examiner, notes, Central National Security Council, first meeting. His style is not to interpret important speeches and meeting reports, but to mark them. What's the point? In the first paragraph, the General Secretary emphasized that we must fully implement the spirit of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, Deeply understand the complex and severe situation facing national security, correctly grasp major national security issues, accelerate the modernization of the national security system and capabilities, and ensure new development of the new security pattern. Strive to create a new situation in national security work. Note that the previous comprehensive implementation, deep understanding and correct grasp are the understanding, foundation, and avoiding deviation. The latter new security pattern and new situation are the purpose, and accelerating the modernization of the national security system and capabilities is to made. When talking about how to do it later, click on a few keywords: practical and practical, synergy and efficiency, rule of law thinking, technological empowerment, grassroots foundation and organic connection and linkage integration. These few are particularly important. To understand this, you need to know more about the context, especially the history of the National Security Council. This institution was established in the communique of the plenary session in November 2013. In January of the following year, the study decided the setting of the committee. Since then we have had a top-level operating mechanism to deal with domestic and foreign comprehensive security and formulate a national security strategy. After the 2 sessions in 2018, the first meeting of the new committee was also held. Judging from public channels, the establishment of this committee has been proposed as early as 1997, but to establish this organization, many departments need to be coordinated together, which is by no means an easy task. If it does not run smoothly, it will not be conducive to the purpose of ensuring national security. Previously, the Central Leading Group for National Security, that is, the Central Leading Group for Foreign Affairs, was in charge of this work, but it had limitations and could not combine internal and external national security to form a joint force. After continuous reforms and mature conditions in all aspects, this institution finally took shape in 2013 to 2014. After it took shape, it continued to coordinate all parties, and combined with the new international and domestic environments and challenges, launched the first National Security Strategy Report in January 2015. National Security Strategy Outline. The National Security Law was passed in the same year, written into the party constitution in 2017. The National Security Strategy Report National Security Strategy, 2021 to 2025, was released in 2021, and so on. Relevant important note documents also include the decision on several major issues in October 2019, and the resolution on major achievements and historical experience in a century of struggle in November 2021, which finally completed the construction of a new security pattern, including clarifying which fields are included in national security, discussed separately. The top-level structure is complete, and the work that needs to be done has also been determined. The next focus is to step up and work hard. At the end of the meeting on May 30th, several key tasks were highlighted: network data, artificial intelligence, security governance, national security risk monitoring and early warning system, national security rule of law construction, national security education.